Hello students, I am Sachin Prakash and I teach and mentor students in chemistry for IIT I believe that the real confidence which is required to crack this IIT exam will come only when you are confident in tackling good problems. And that clarity and understanding of concepts will only develop when you are really comfortable in handling these problems. So this video contains the paper discussion which I have conducted in my uh, classes online. Okay, and a lot of good doubts are there which I have discussed here. It will be helping you people in understanding, developing an understanding in how to approach and tackle good problems. Okay, and if you like this, if you found this paper discussion video to be useful and interesting, you can, like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, which will surely, motivate me to add some more useful videos of this type. Okay, because ultimately it's this is just an effort, honest effort, small honest effort from my side to help the student, uh, help my students as well as other students also in their ITJ preparation. So let us begin with this paper discussion. Okay.
Got it. Okay, so today we are going to discuss AFT 12 paper 2. Okay, so this is the paper in front of you. This paper will be having like section 1, which is single digit integer type of questions. And then you have more than one correct questions. And finally, you are having paragraph type questions. Now you see, I know that all of you people have your own strategies of attempting paper, but always start with single correct or integer type of questions so that you don't need to worry about eliminating a lot of statements or going to confusing options. Okay, because only one answer will be correct, you don't have to think that much. Once you have done these questions, then you will be automatically confident enough to attempt the multi-correct. Multi-correct you should always attempt after you have covered all the integer and single correct questions. Okay, this is the point which I would like to emphasize. Okay, so let us start the paper discussion. So you people are now. Acha, everyone is giving the BITS exam? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
When is the
Yes,
exam?
sir.
When is the exam?
It's starting on 16, sir, and the slot booking is starting on 9th.
Okay. So 16 to how much time?
23rd, sir.
1 week. Okay.
16 to 18 and again 21 to 23.
Okay. And the second thing is, when is the MSET exam?
From 9th.
9th
9th
to
to 13th.
13th, sir.
13th.
Okay. Okay. Now, one thing I would like to emphasize that those people who are having less than 95 percentile in the first JEE mains, they should take MSET exam very seriously. Okay. Not because I'm suggesting that you join MSET, the idea is to create backup options. Okay. If you get a better option in JEE mains or JEE advanced, then you will take that. But at least MSET, so you people will get a good rank, that I am knowing. So keep that option open. Okay. Now question number 21 to 23. Any doubts? Just go through these questions. Twenty-one is a doubt?
Can you explain the
Yeah.
effusion and the
Yes.
diffusion my difference?
Diffusion and infusion में difference is just that diffusion does not require a pressure difference. Okay. Effusion requires a pressure difference. Okay. So effusion is basically diffusion of gases under a external pressure gradient. Are you getting a point?
Yes, sir.
So if you are writing a rate of diffusion, it is inversely proportional to square root of mw. But when you are talking a rate of effusion, then the pressure term will also come into picture. And the pressure is directly proportional to number of moles inside the container. It will be directly proportional to n by square root of mw. And rate of effusion is directly proportional to moles effused by time taken. So I can write n effused is directly proportional to n by square root of mw. Okay, so for the same time, you can find the ratio. Now you see, if you are having a system of containers, okay, then after first effusion, you will get n dash. Suppose you are having Na and Nb, moles of A and moles of B. Then it will be after first stage, you will be getting n dash A and n dash B. This will be the effused moles. Again, if you add one more container, you'll be getting like Na double dash and Nb double dash. This will give effusion again. So I think I have discussed this thing in the, so if you have like n stages, it will be like nk of A by nk of B. Okay. So if you remember the stuff which I have discussed in the class, n effused k of A by n effused after kth stage, effuse of B, is equal to Na by Nb under root of mw B by mw A to the power k. Are you remembering this one? Yes or no?
No, sir, but I understood.
Yeah, that is very good. That is better. Okay, so if that is the case, then I have done this question here. Okay, so final effused moles in the, kth container will be n of H2 final by n of He final is equal to n of H2 into moles of He under root of molecular weight of He by molecular weight of H2. This is for a k stage system. Now, if you have k stages, then you will have k plus 1 containers. They are asking number of containers. So if you have one stage, then you require 2 containers. If you have 2 stages, you require 3 containers. It's like this. You see, this is the first stage, second stage. Okay, so kth stage. So it will be k plus 1 container. Are you getting a point? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So I think now you can do this question. Did you get? So after that, you have to just, the final ratio is 8 by 1, the initial ratio is 1:4. Okay. Now, initially, the weight ratio is given. So you have to convert it into moles ratio. So it will be, weight of H2 will be moles of H2 into 2, weight of He will be moles of He into 4. So initially, you have to find the moles of H2 by moles of He. And then you have to use this formula. Are you getting this? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did anyone do this question if you remember? I don't think you will be remembering. But anyways, nice try. 22. Is it out? See, basically they are saying that you are having an insulated container. And it can go up or down, means the volume can change. Now it's an insulated container and it is saying that the volume is changing gradually. Hence you can consider this whole process to be a reversible adiabatic process. Because insulated means that Q is equal to 0. So you can use Tv to the power gamma minus 1 is equal to constant. So I can write T1 V1 to the power gamma minus 1 is equal to T2 V2 to the power gamma minus 1. If you calculate the value of T2, Okay, now it is a diatomic gas, so gamma will be 1 by 4 or 7 by 5. So from this, you can get T2. T2 will be 250 Kelvin. Now it is asking change in Gibbs free energy. So we can write G is equal to H minus Ts, and dG will be dH minus TdS minus SdT. Since it is a reversible adiabatic process, so dS will be equal to 0. Okay, because reversible adiabatic process is also an isoentropic process. So TdS is 0. So dG will be dH minus SdT. So delta G will be delta H minus S delta T. And S is given to the molar entropy of the system. So from 1 mole, it will be like N into molar entropy into delta T, and delta H will be N into Cp into delta T. So Cp, you know, it is like 7 by 2 R, and Sm is given to be 3. R, you have to take 2 calories per mole. So if you do, you will get the answer to minus 3 kilocalories. Are you getting my point? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, the idea in these paper discussion is not for looking for the answer. Idea to understand what are the new concepts which you know, we are learning. I think everyone knows the Gibbs free energy, but this is a application in which you know, G is depending on S as well as T. Normally we write delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta H. In that case, we are assuming that the temperature is constant, but here you see the temperature is changing. Okay, so we have to take that temperature change term into account also. Okay, so that is the case. 23 is a doubt? (23) See, almost every day we'll be meeting for the paper discussion. That is for sure. Okay, so the day you are having the advanced exams, I won't be taking paper discussion because already I think 4 paper discussions will be there. Next day and next to next day, I will be taking 1 paper discussion each. My paper discussions will be long and detailed so that we can have a proper revision during the paper discussion itself. Okay, and apart from that, you will be doing questions at home. Okay, please only focus on the previous ITJ questions. Yeah. 23 is a doubt, yes or no?
No, sir.
Okay. Only just for reference, this is the Arrhenius equation in differential form. So here we have to use this because EA is given as function of time. Okay, so if you are writing it like this and you integrate, you will get the answer. Everyone is clear? 24. 24 is the type of question which is there in previous ITG also. I think they have taken exactly the same question or similar to that. 24 is a doubt? Yes or no?
No, sir.
Everyone is clear on 24. There are like 24 people here. Manasi
Sir,
is there.
explain.
Explain. See, basically what happens in these type of reaction where you are, this is an acetylation reaction. So whether you are using acetic anhydride or acetyl chloride, basically an acidic hydrogen, whether you are using this or you are using this, what is happening is that this will combine, okay, and ultimately you will be getting RO, CO, CS3 as the product. Suppose this alcohol was having molecular mass equal to Z, then this will be having molecular mass equal to Z minus 1, and this will be having molecular mass equal to how much? 15 plus 28, 43. So the resultant product will have a molecular mass of Z plus 42. You see, on acetylation, the molecular mass is increasing by 42 for one acidic hydrogen. Okay, so number of acidic hydrogen will be changed in mass by 42. Yes or no? Yes, no.
Yes, sir.
So you see here delta M is how much? 168. So number of acidic hydrogen will be 168 by 42. It will be equal to 4. Getting a point?
Yes, sir.
That's very good. Okay, 25, 26.
So 25.
25, you see, this is a 1 degree halide. So only CH3 can give a faster SN2 than this. Or those compounds where a neighboring group participation is taking place, because it is an internal SN2 reaction. Okay, so the answer will be F only. Only in case of F, the neighboring group participation will be taking place. First, this pi bond will attack here, Br will go out, and then external nucleophile will attack, and the aromaticity is restored. Are you people clear on this, how neighboring group participation is taking place? Or you want me to explain that also?
Explain, sir.
Yes. How many days it has been since you people have revised the alkyl halide notes?
We never revised notes.
Notes. Okay. See, everyone wrote the notes so sincerely. Okay, so you see, it is something like this. What will happen is that this will attack here, and you will be getting this type of compound. One minute. CH2Br, no? Okay, in this case, one minute. In this case, actually, it's not exactly NGP, it's, okay, NGP will require 2 CH3 groups, actually. In this case, the rate of SN2 increases because of what you call as pi conjugation. This, the anti-bonding orbital here is conjugated with the pi system here, so the rate of reaction is increasing. It is the same reason why RCOCH2Br will be having faster rate of SN2 reaction. Are you getting my point? Yes or no? Because the anti-bonding orbital here is conjugated with the pi bond here. Are you clear? Yes or no? Yes, no.
So why not D?
Why not D? D is an example of a 2 degree halide, so the rate of reaction will be high, lower than CH3, CH2Br. See, CH3, CH2Br is already a 1 degree halide. Only thing which is faster than 1 degree halide is systems, 1 degree halide systems which are having pi conjugation or CH3Br. Are you getting a point?
Okay, so sir, in G also we have 1 degree halide, no then?
Yeah, but in G, what is happening is that you are having a big steric group, you know, just attached to CH2Br. So this will neither give SN1 nor it will give SN2.
Okay, sir.
Okay. 25 is done. 26. And 27.
Sir, 26B.
This is something I once discussed in the class. So we are going to do it like this. So see, suppose this is representing one chlorine atom. Okay, there are 6 chlorine atoms. You can will be considering up or down configurations. Are you getting my point? Yes or no? So you see, the first configuration is when all 6 are up. Now, when all 6 are up, then it will be optically inactive because it will be having plane of symmetry.
Yes,
Yes
sir.
or no? If you have 5 up and 1 down, then also you will have plane of symmetry.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you see, if you are having 4 up and 2 down, now you see all the positions which I have not marked are containing chlorine with a up orientation. So I am just showing the down orientations. Okay. Now you see, if you are having this 2 down and 4 up, then you can have these configurations of chlorine, ortho meta para sort of thing. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now in this is having a plane of symmetry. This is having a plane of symmetry. But this is optically active. Getting the point? Because
It has a plane of symmetry, no,
it
sir.
does not have a plane of symmetry. This is not a plane of symmetry because it is a non-planar molecule. I have given this in the
Okay,
notes
yes,
also.
sir, yes, sir.
But in this, if you take only this isomer, you will always get an optically inactive mixture. Why? Because of external composition. In this case, the enantiomer interconvert via ring flipping. So it will be optically inactive due to external compensation. Are you getting a point? Just like inversion of amine. Are you remembering that stuff? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
But the molecule, the structure is chiral. Okay, it is not having a plane of symmetry. Okay, so this is not a plane of symmetry. Litho plane of symmetry. Okay, so this is an optically active structure. These two are optically inactive. Last one is 3 up and 3 down. I am only showing the down ones. Okay, so you see these are the down ones. Okay, we can assume that the other positions are up. Now again, this you can write the structures for this like tri-substituted benzene. So you'll have a adjacent, symmetrical and unsymmetrical arrangement. Out of this will be having a plane of symmetry. This will be having a plane of symmetry, but this will be unsymmetrical. This will be optically active. So exactly you'll have 2 structures which will be optically active. Are you getting your point? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So the y will be 2, x is 8, so x minus y is 6. Everyone is clear?
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
No, which point you are not getting?
I didn't understand how you related this thing to that thing.
Which thing to what thing?
This like this 6 chlorines and this question they gave.
No, you see, what I am saying is that there can be a case when all the 6 chlorines are up. So I will be writing it like this. Okay, let me write it in Harvard's projection. Okay. Now, so this will be optically inactive, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
If I put this down, still it will be optically inactive.
Yes, sir. I understood this part, but then I don't understand how you related this thing to the question.
Means, so you see, if I am writing it like this is, if I am writing it like this structure and this structure are the same.
Yes.
Okay. So if one is down, then I can write just one dash bond here, and I am assuming that others are up. Getting my point?
Yes, sir.
It can have only 2 orientations. Similarly, if I am writing 2 dash, then the rest are up only. Okay, by default. Are you getting my point?
Yeah.
Okay, now you see, when you are writing it, then these 2 dashes can be arranged in how many ways? Only 3 ways. It is
Yeah.
similar to arranging the things in benzene, ortho, meta, para. There cannot be any other arrangement of the dashes. Yes or no?
Yeah, okay. Understood.
This one also you are getting?
Yeah.
Okay. So 27 is, yeah, tell me.
Then there's only one which is optically active, no?
Two. This one is
Yeah.
optically active and this one is also optically active.
But you said the other one is external compensation, so it's optically inactive.
External compensation means that if you try to isolate this isomer, you will always get an optically racemic mixture. Are you getting my point? In fact,
Yeah.
if you get a racemic mixture, you cannot dissolve those enantiomers also. But in this case, you can resolve the enantiomers. But it is asking optically active stereoisomers. So technically, this is an optically active stereoisomers. Okay. You won't get the thing, but it will be optically active only, no?
Yes, sir. So don't we count this compound and its enantiomer separately? Shouldn't we do that?
We do that.
That makes more sense, sir.
That is what I am saying. No, it has to be done like that only. Okay. Getting a point? Yes, no.
So it'll be 4?
See, if you're counting that way, the whole, okay. See, if they're asking chiral, then the answer will be 4. Are you getting my point? Yes, no?
What is the difference, sir?
The difference is that if you're talking optically active, then this you will never get as an optically active substance. Are you getting my point? This will always be, this is chiral, but optically inactive. due to ring flipping. Okay.
Then why are we counting that, sir?
Then we should not count that. Okay. So if you are only counting this will be having 2 isomers. Are you getting my point? Which you can resolve actually.
Sir, why isn't the external compensation happening for that also?
See, in this case, the enantiomers are interconvertible to each other through ring flipping. Are you getting my point? In one
Okay, sir.
conformation, both are, one is axial, another is equatorial. When the ring flipping is taking place, the axial position becomes equatorial, equatorial becomes axial. So when you write this, the enantiomers, both will be, ring flipping products, both will be enantiomers of each other. Are you getting my point?
Okay, sir.
Okay. So I believe that in this case, you have to consider this to be optically inactive only. If you are considering stereoisomers, optically active stereoisomers, then it will be 2 only. Then it means that they are considering D plus L enantiomers only. Are you getting my point? If they are saying how many chiral structures are there, then it will be 4. Are you getting my point? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So after 26, 27 is a doubt.
Yes, sir.
Why?
I don't know. I'm confused with. Just
See,
explain, sir.
if I am taking H2SO4, then what is the hybridization? sp3? Okay. Now see, pi bond require pure orbitals. So either it will be pure p orbital or a pure d orbital. Are you getting my point? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now if the hybridization is sp3, means no p orbitals are available, all have been used in hybridization. Yes or no?
Yes.
So sulfur has to use what? It's d orbital only. So the bonds will be d pi p pi. Getting my point?
Okay, sir. Understood.
So in this, so wherever you have an sp3 hybridization, all pi bonds will be d pi p pi only. Getting my point?
Yes.
Now, if you have sp2 hybridization, then the first pi bond will be a p pi p pi. Like if you are talking about SO2, I am talking about SO2. This is sp2 hybridization. This means one p orbital is, available for pi bond. So the first bond will be p pi, p pi. Sulfur for p orbital or oxygen p orbital are being used. The second bond will be p pi, d pi. Are you getting my point? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
In case of H2SO4, both bonds are p pi, d pi, p pi only. Okay, I should write it as d pi because sulfur to oxygen. Although both are same. Similarly, in case of SO3 also, the hybridization is what? sp2. So the first pi bond will be p pi, p pi. The other two will be d pi, p pi. Are you getting my point? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
And third case, NSiH3 whole thrice due to back bonding. Okay, so what will happen? A pi bond formation will take place. Molecule becomes linear. So you see the p orbital of nitrogen and d orbital of silicon are taking part. So d pi, v pi. Are you getting a point? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So answer is 3.
So d pi p pi and p pi d pi mean the same.
Yes.
Okay.
28, 29, 30. And 28, 1 minute, 28. Yeah, in 28, what I wanted to discuss was that most of the sodium and potassium and ammonium salts are water soluble only. Okay, but there are certain exceptions like this ammonium molybdate, the canary yellow precipitate with ammonium molybdate. Okay, which is ammonium phosphomolybdate. That is an ammonium salt which is a precipitate. It's a canary yellow precipitate. Similarly, potassium cobaltinitrite. Okay, that is having +3 oxidation state of cobalt. That is also a precipitate only. So, but it is a potassium salt, but still it is a precipitate. So these are the two salts which are precipitate. Other ammonium salts will be water soluble. Ag2CrO4 will be red precipitate. Lead chromate will be yellow. Na2CrO4 is a yellow, but it is not a precipitate, it is a solution. Barium chromate again is a precipitate. Chromide chloride is are reddish brown vapors. Okay. And AgI is a yellow precipitate, PbI2 is a yellow precipitate. So answer is 6. Are you getting my point? Yes, no. This you have to know. I think if you people have followed my instructions regarding writing a color-wise precipitate and solution names, then this type of question will be easy. Yes, no. Who is mystery? Okay. Is it clear? Yes, no.
Yes, sir.
Okay. 29 is a doubt.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you see 29, you have sodium carbonate. So CO3 minus will undergo a two-step hydrolysis. Okay. First, it will go into CO3 minus to SCO3 minus and then SCO3 minus to H2CO3. Are you getting my point? So this is the first step and this is the second step of hydrolysis. Now for each step, you will have a KH value. So you see CO3 minus to SCO3 minus, you have KH1 and here you have KH2. A KH1 will involve the acid constant between SCO3 minus and CO3 minus, which will be Ka2. Are you getting my point? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
And the second step will involve the Ka between SCO3 minus and H2CO3, which is Ka1. So KH2 will be Kw by Ka1. Okay, and KH1 will be Kw by Ka2. Now you can directly use the formula for the first step to find pH. Because you see in hydrolysis, stepwise hydrolysis, the H plus or OH minus concentration is always decided by the first step only. Are you getting my point? The other steps will not contribute that much to the pH of the system. I think I have given this point in the notes. Do you remember it? Or at least you should remember. Are you getting this point? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
So you see, first step you can calculate the pH of the system. It will be 7 to half pK2 plus log C. pK2 will be 9 because it is given here. So pH will be 11. Okay. Now, if you want to calculate the concentration, now this means that the OH minus concentration will be how much? OH minus concentration will be 10 to the minus 3. This will be valid for the second step also. If I am writing KH2, it will be concentration of H2CO3 by concentration of S into OH minus the concentration of SCO3 minus. Now the concentration of SCO3 minus will be same as concentration of OH minus because both are formed in equal quantities. Yes or no? In the first step. And the dissociation of SCO3 minus in second step will be negligible due to weak electrolyte approximation. Are you remembering these things? Or at least understanding these things?
Yes, sir.
Then KH, so these two will cancel out. KH2 will be equal to concentration of H2CO3. It will be 10 to the minus 9. Okay, that's it. So A is correct, B is correct, and C is correct. D won't be correct. Equilibrium concentration of carbonate ion, CO3 2 minus, will be 0.1 only. Because this dissociation we are neglecting. So you have given 0.01. Okay. So 29 is done. 30th is a doubt.
No, sir.
Yeah. So blood is a negatively charged soul, while hemoglobin is a positively charged soul. (31) I think we have discussed this type of question in class. Everyone is getting this question, 31? You will be first getting alkyne, which is an internal alkyne. Then you are doing, in one case, you are doing syn hydrogenation. Another case, you are doing trans hydrogenation, which through Birch reduction. So first case, you will get cis alkene, and then you will be getting trans alkene, which is C. And cis, and then if you are using OSO4, this means it is syn hydroxylation. Cis plus syn will give trio, erythro, and cis plus anti will give trio. I think we have discussed these combinations in the class. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So I believe you people can do this question. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt in this, figuring out any of these? Yes or no?
No,
sir.
sir.
Okay. So then we move forward. Okay, all these options are simple. Okay. I know that it has been a long time since you have given this paper, but this is not that tough. 32. Now you see it is saying which of these can be differentiated by both Fehling as well as tolerance reagent. So you see both aldehydes and hemiacetals will give Fehling's as well as tolerance test. So you have to just check which of these cases are hemiacetals and aldehydes.
Only aliphatic, sir.
Only aliphatic aldehydes.
See, aromatic aldehydes will not give the Fehling's test. So that is why C is not the answer. It is saying that you should give both Fehling's as well as tolerance test. Okay. So first case, you see aldehydes will give these tests and ketones won't give this test. So you see this is a hemiacetal Okay, which will be giving aldehyde, which will be giving ketone. This one will be giving ketone, and this one will be giving aldehyde. So this one will be giving test, this won't be giving test. So you can distinguish using Fellings as well as tolerance test. In this case, this is an aldehyde, and this is also an aldehyde. But you see, you cannot distinguish between them using Fellings test or tolerance test. With this one will be giving the Fellings test. This won't be giving Fellings test, but both will be giving tolerance test. So it is saying that both you can use both to distinguish the two compounds, which is not correct. Are you getting a point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So 32 is done. Okay, answer will be A, B, and D. 33. See, in these type of compounds, first calculate the degree of unsaturation. If it is coming like 3, 4 or more than 4, it will be containing a benzene ring. If you take benzene ring, then apart from that, you will have only one nitrogen outside. So it will be like you will be starting with aniline. After that, if you are using acetic anhydride, it will cause acetylation. Then you are using Cl2FeCl3. It will turn, it will cause chlorination at para position. Then you are doing hydrolysis, so you are getting back the amine. NaNO2HCl will give you diazonium cation, and then CuCN is the Sandmeyer reaction. So you'll be getting CN and Cn. And ultimately, last, if you are, treating it with HCl plus and heat, CN would undergo hydrolysis to give COH. Are you getting a point? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So these type of questions you should be, going through. So I think if you have understood this, you can do all these questions. Look at the options. If you find anything worth asking, you can ask. Are you getting all the 4 options?
Sir, option D.
Option D. You see, E is this compound, cyanide and Cl. If you are doing SnCl to HCl, you'll get, you won't get complete reduction, you'll get partial reduction. So cyanide will be converted into imine. Imine on hydrolysis will give CHO. It will be something like this, O and H2. Are you getting a point?
Okay, sir.
So this is done. After this, 34, 35, 36.
Sir, 34C.
34C.
Option.
Okay. Effective atomic number is 36. You want me to discuss how to calculate effective atomic number, right?
Yes.
You see, calculate the oxidation state of the central cation. You see here it is -2, so this should be +2, and chlorine is already minus. Okay. Okay. Now you see it is like if you write this formula, okay, then this whole thing will be +1. Okay. So the actual structure is something like this, not okay with a 2 here. This will be +1 here, so cobalt will be +3. Are you getting a point? It is given here. If cobalt is +3, cobalt is having 27 electrons. So cobalt +3 will be having how many electrons? 24 plus 6 ligands are there, 6 electron pairs are there. Okay. Just 1 minute. Okay. 1 minute. Yeah, it is +1 outside. You see, if you write the complex, okay, then it is having dichloridone. So within this complex, you have a CO3 plus. You have 2 chloride ions, and you are having CH2 NH2. Are you getting a point? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now you see this is 0 and this is -1. Okay, so 2 chloride ions is -2 and +3. So whole thing should be +1. Are you getting a point?
Yes, sir.
So this should be whole twice and then SO4. Getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So other things are clear in this question, 34?
Sir, you were calculating atomic number.
Huh?
Effective atomic number. You were telling.
Yeah. So you see, this is representing the number of electrons in CO3 plus. And you see, total you are having 6 lone pairs around cobalt. It's a bidentate ligand. So it will be giving 2 lone pairs per ligand. So 2 into 2, 4 plus 2, 6. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So 6 lone pairs means 6 into 2, which is 12, 24 and 12, 36.
Yes, sir.
So effective atomic number of central atom is 36 in this case, not 32. Clear?
Yes.
Yeah. 35, 36, no doubts? These are the reactions which you need to know. So they are asking which case you will get 2 gaseous products minimum, which can include water vapor as a gas. So NaCO3 will get H2 and CO2. NO2 CO3 dot in H2 will give only water as the gaseous product. NaNO3 on heating will be giving NO2 and O2 as gaseous product. So NaNO3 will also be, which is chili saltpeter. And calcium oxalate, if you are heating, you will get calcium oxide, which is solid, plus CO plus CO2. Both are gases. Are you getting my point? Yes or no? Anyone having any problem understanding this question? Yes, no.
No, sir.
Okay. 36, not a doubt. See, whenever you have dilute H2SO4, this means that it will be acting as an acid on it. If it was concentrated H2SO4, then it might act as a moderate oxidizing agent. Getting a point? If it is acting as a moderate oxidizing agent, then S2S4 will go to SO2. Okay?
Sir, you will get FeSO4 in both cases, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
37 and 38. You have been given the expression of E. It should be only T square. K is just a unit here. Okay. So you can find del E by del T and then put the values, you'll get the answer. Is it clear to all of you? This is a very simple question. They have already given the formulas. Thirty-seven, 38. Is some other class also going right now? Physics? Yes, no?
No, sir.
Yeah, because I talked to Pansar in the morning, he said he won't be taking the class today in the morning. Because half of the people are gone, that's why. See, I know that advanced paper discussions are a bit lengthy and tough. But you see, if you people stay, no, even if you have not done these questions, during discussions you will get a lot of good ideas. One of those might be helpful in getting 4 or 5 extra marks in the final advanced exam. It matters a lot on the day of the exam. So, you know, sincerity is very good and important. I'm happy that at least 13 people are there. 37, 38, no doubts? These are the calculations. Delta S is NF del E by del T. So minus 115.8. And from that you will get the answers. Can I move forward? 39 and 40. $39 and $40. No doubts?
Sir, can
Okay.
you explain it?
Which one?
Like, how do you see if it's partial? If it like undergo partial, it doesn't undergo completely.
Partial hydrolysis means that, you see, like if you have BF3, okay, and you have HOH, then what will happen is that first this will undergo this type of, you will get BF2OH. Okay, so each time when there is a hydrolysis, one of our F is replaced by OH. Are you getting my point? Okay. Now that won't take place in case of SiCl4 and SoCl2. because in these cases, you see, SiCl4 is highly reactive. Okay, so the reaction cannot be stopped midway in this case. Okay, similarly in case of, because chlorine is a very good living group, fluorine is not that good a living group. So the reaction is taking place in steps. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So these are things which you need to know. Means these are information based things. Okay, 40th.
Sir,
And
NCl3 also there is no d orbitals, no?
chlorine is having d orbitals, no?
Okay.
So in NCl3, the attack will take place from H2O to chlorine back in d orbital. So you'll be getting HOCl plus NH3. Okay. So with this, we have discussed the whole paper, all 40 questions, 20 questions which are there. Okay. So, did you people give the AFT 13? I'm stopping the recording now.